Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, December the 4th, 2022. And this morning we are at the Cypress Island Preserve here at Lake Martin, which is just located outside of Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. Today we're going to be hiking the Lake Martin Loop, which is about 5 miles. I'm going to first start over towards a boardwalk area. I was just talking to the lady that works here, and it's not completely open. They've had some damage over the years. They're trying to get it repaired, but in the meantime, we'll just walk out there a short distance and get you some views. And then after that, we'll be meeting up with a couple other people this morning, and we're gonna hike this trail. It is basically half of it a levee, and then the other half is a gravel road. And there are a couple of other side trails right off the levee road. So if I get a chance, I'm gonna try to point those out and show a couple of things there too. But in the meantime, let's get started. So as you can see, it's already blocked off. I mean, just probably about maybe 40 yards. It's impassable. But you can see how cool it is out here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tell you a little bit more about this place as I head back and meet up with my friends this morning to the main entrance of the trail. Lake Martin, if you're not from Louisiana, you've probably seen some pictures of it at some point. Just about every tourism book or website that promotes Louisiana has probably shown some featured photos and videos of this place. The reason for it is it's so unique here in the Lafayette area. It serves as an estuary for several different bird types, and the prime time to come out here would be towards late January. There are several different species of birds that fly south for nesting, including different types of herons, and there's a lot of beauty out here outside of the birds too. Of course, as I showed you a little while ago, a picture of the sign for the American alligator, several gators. But right now we're in temperatures in the low to mid 50s, and generally the alligators and snakes and different types of reptiles such as those, they stay in what they call Burmation up into the 60-degree range. Burmation simply means that they don't hibernate, but what they do is they just remain dormant until it gets around that temperature. And of course, when the sun's out, they definitely like to pop out and get some sun. So this time of the year, you wouldn't have anything to worry about in regards to being able to come out and not be in the risk of getting exposed to those things. But even so, most of the time, particularly alligators, they're out in the water. But basically the trail is a loop around this lake, and there's going to be some nice views that we should be able to catch here today. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and head on over to the main section and get started on this thing. If you park here at the Cypress Island Preserve Visitor Center, you can see the walkway takes you across this bridge. And what we're going to do is we're going to hike this thing today clockwise, so we're going this way. One thing I wanted to point out real quick, you just saw in that picture of private property. Everything out here except for the trail itself is private. So you definitely want to just stay on trail and not deviate off the trail at all. As you can see, this basically is a very wide path. We have the lake area to our right and the swamp to our left, but the trail's in very good shape. You can see in certain spots there's even a little bit of gravel underneath, so the surface is pretty hard overall. Just keep in mind, depending upon the time of the year you come out here, like I've talked about a lot with these trails down here in South Louisiana, you're best coming out here in between the months of in between October and April, because the grass starts growing pretty quickly. I believe from about June through August, it's closed anyways, but a lot of times you'll see comments made on different websites about the trail and how they're not able to make it through all the way because there's a lot of long grass. And basically means that they generally just come out once, maybe twice a year to cut this. But I was able to confirm that the grass is cut. So this levee section is definitely good to come through all the way from start to finish. At about 1.25, there's a little side trail and it takes you straight out to the lake. So you can see how beautiful it is out here. I think a lot of people like to use this to come out and load up their kayak. Just shy of 2 miles, there's a series of side trails that you can go and extend your hike. You can see some signage right there. It just loops back to the main trail, but if you want to extend your miles, I think altogether you could probably get about another mile to a mile and a half out of it. And we're less than a quarter of a mile from the end of the levee walk, and we're standing out here on the boat dock, and this video definitely says it all. And we've come to the end of the levee walk section, and it literally is about the halfway mark of this trail. You can see here there is a parking lot on this side. It's pretty much the northeast corner of the Lake Martin Loop. So depending upon what direction you're coming from, you may just decide to park over here, or of course if you want to shorten your hike and you come out with a couple of people, you can have parking here and then parking over at the Cypress Island Preserve Visitor Center. About a mile in on the roadwalk section, or just shy of 4 miles altogether is the boat landing. And as we continue forward, and I'll go ahead and try to zoom in real quick, you can see that there are some swamp tours available right down this road. Well, we're about 1 mile away from the end of this trail, and even though half of it is a gravel road, it's still nice to be able to walk on. It's better than a paved road, obviously, but a couple of cool spots back there. They had the boat landing. There's several people out fishing today because the weather's real nice. It's actually supposed to get in the upper 70s, I believe, today. And took a couple of pictures back there with the swamp tours. I think they also have boats that you can, or canoes I should say, that you can rent as well to get on the lake. So it's one of those situations where if you come out here, there's several things to do. So if you want to go hiking and someone else would rather come out and get in a canoe or go fishing, Lake Barnes is definitely a great place to come do all that. All right, the gravel road section is pretty much ended. This is technically part of Rookery Road, but it's non-passable. They actually have some barriers put up. And so now we're a little less than a mile away from the parking lot. Well, we're at about 0.25, I think, from the parking lot. And all in all, it's been a nice experience out here today. Definitely the highlights would be coming from where we started today, the Cypress Island Preserve parking lot. From mile 2 on to, I would say, about mile 3. That's probably the best stretch. Once you start wrapping around and you get on the road, there's still some spots that are scenic. The only thing you have to be watching out for, of course, are the cars. There's about a handful that came down while we were walking, which they call Rookery Road. And from the northern point where you get on the road section to around the boat landing, it gets pretty busy. Then they had the swamp tour section after that. And there's some beautiful houses down there too, especially once you get south of the boat landing. I'm sorry, once you get south of the swamp tours section, really cool spot out there. But also too, there's not a whole lot of visibility with the lake. Now, I did take a picture a minute ago and you can see how it's wet and grassy, but I think that normally the water's a little higher. We're starting to catch up on precipitation after about 3 months of it being practically a drought. And then also I read somewhere as they were draining the lake slightly, trying to get rid of, I think, of some of the hydrilla. So it's probably going to be more scenic on normal hikes out here. But nevertheless, though, there's still a lot of beautiful things to look at. And that pretty much wraps this section up here. When I get back to the car, I'll go ahead and wrap things up. All right, well, we're at the end of the trail. I just wanted to point out a couple more things before I conclude today. First of all, you definitely need to come out to the visitor center. It's very neat in there, the history of the Chaffly Basin. One of the volunteers, she was a super nice lady. She showed me a lot of things that she's collected over the years with feathers from different birds that have migrated here, and just talked a little bit more about the history of the lake. And then also too, standing behind me, you can see there's a pavilion, there's restrooms in there. So if you want to just come out for the day and just hang out along with hike and do a few other things that's available, I highly suggest that you do that. But definitely appreciate you checking this out today. And I will see you again soon on another Louisiana trail.